Welcome everybody back to the Join the League season number 6. It has been quite some time since we've covered a game for it, just because we have had quite a bit of other content here as well, but we're back. It's the Southeast Asian Division 2 here, Awake, going up against Team Mineski. This game was really like a hair width away from not even happening. At least game number 1 was almost a forfeit. But Awake made it like 30 seconds before their time was up into the lobby as 5. Although they are running with 3 stand-ins by the looks of things, which in theory is prohibited in the rule set, but I think the admins were more concerned of getting an actual game. So here we are, Awake versus Mineski, 2-game series, so only 2 games, whether it be 2-0 or 1-1. Of course, we're HeflaTV, I'm Couchor, gonna be joined by Danelie casts as well. How you doing?
It's been a while since I've done one of these. I think it's been 3 months. No, it can't be 3 months. It's probably been a month or 2 months. But man, just coming back. I literally came back from Malaysia today, and I am dead. But at least I have lots of information in regards to Mineski. I did see a lot of their games happening at MPGL, so I'll be able to shed some light onto them. Awake though, they didn't attend. I don't think they even qualified to even go to MPGL, so I'm not too sure as to how they're performing. And you mentioned they're playing with 3 stand-ins. It's not optimal, but I guess if they didn't pull those stand-ins, it would have just been a game 1 loss or forfeit, really.
Yeah, it's like better to get any kind of game, I suppose. Although, since there are of course bets on this game as well as in any other Dota game almost, some people betting on Awake might not be too happy about just seeing 3 stand-ins in that situation. But here we are, Mineski going for an Earthshaker first pick, and you were saying that Mineski, you saw them quite a bit in MPGL, and I think they ended up as the 3rd place there, right?
Yes, they ended up 3rd place. They played okay, but I looked at the way they were playing and how they were drafting, and it just feels like Mineski, like a lot of teams actually at MPGL, they're still adapting to the new meta game. They haven't really found that sweet spot yet compared to last meta, where it was just that same couple of heroes that everyone would play. This patch, everyone's just trying to find their style, and I think Mineski, they're still kind of stuck, but they're going to go for an Earthshaker and a Gyrocopter as their first 2 picks, whereas Awake, they're going to go for the old school Drow Vengeful Spirit combo.
So Vengeful Spirit is definitely strong with the Drow, but Visage was also in the pool, so do you think going for a Vengeful Spirit over the Visage is a better choice here, or are they maybe going to try to utilize even more auras, maybe get something like a Luna in there as well, maybe a Beastmaster?
Yeah, you could go for more auras if you really want to. I feel like depending on how you want to run the Drow Ranger, either Visage or Vengeful Spirit first, it really doesn't matter. If you want more damage, then you would go for the Visage. Whereas I feel Awake, they've drafted the Vengeful Spirit because they want that defensive mechanism for the Drow. So if Mineski try to dive balls deep for that Drow, then at least Awake can create some space with the swap. So I feel like it's just a defensive support to help the Drow Ranger in case anything's going to be problematic for her as the game goes on.
Yeah, and of course now Awake denied to just follow up Visage, had even wanted to go for it, and of course Beastmaster also removed. I mean, Beastmaster, it's not like the attack aura is gonna be nice, it's just the fact that Beastmaster in general is extremely strong at this point in time. Easy scouting with the Hawk, Primal Roar, just lockdown even through BKB, just such a crucial thing in helping you secure those team fights. But Awake did go for a Shadow Fiend now, so they're gonna have even more minus armor once he hits just even 1 point in the presence of the Dark Lord. And of course, Shadow Fiend can also make use of the Precision Aura.
Yeah, so a lot of synergy so far with Awake's drafts, lots of auras, everything just works well. But now they have to finalize their draft with a frontline hero plus another support because they've got 2 calls already and they have the Vengeful Spirit. So what kind of off lanes would you suggest for Awake? Do you think something like a Clockwork just to help them with the initiation and to tank up some of the damage from Mineski?
I mean, Clockwork might be fine here. Of course, if you, let's say, go into a Gyrocopter, maybe it's not the best hero to jump into just because you're going to find a face full of Rocket Barrage after that. Other than that, I think just creating space and zoning people out, it's definitely good. Maybe a Centaur to try to just get some distance, help the Drow Ranger as well if he gets jumped somehow. Although I must say Centaur in general isn't all that popular, even though he did get buffed somewhat, or, well, I suppose the buff is more so just you getting an ag enemies, but farming that one up is a problem in its own.
Yeah, I don't think they could really accommodate a Centaur in their draft because look, they've got Drow Ranger and Shadow Fiend heroes that really love to farm, and well, Awake they are going to go for the Clockwork, so they have their off lane slash initiator. They're just going to have to look for a support after this. Whereas Mineski, do you think they're going to go for a core Lina this game? We do see Lina in core slash support roles. What do you think would benefit Mineski the most?
Well, they themselves may need something to just actually zone out the Clockwork now, or something that can actually jump on the Drow Ranger, for example. Depending on how they want to lane this, maybe a Slark, although fitting that into their lineup may not be the easiest thing to do. So, mid laners, maybe go for like a Storm Spirit there, just something that can really go to the back lines. And actually, now that I think about it, Storm Spirit might be one of the better ones. Maybe a Puck as well, but Storm Spirit brings a little bit more to the late game situation as well if necessary.
Yeah, I think we shouldn't count out the Batrider either. He is still available as well, and he is one of these blinkers that can get into the backlines, but there is going to be a Vengeful Spirit. So I'm not too sure if Mineski is going to be confident in picking up any of those blink initiators, because that Vengeful Spirit is really going to be annoying. But Mineski's draft, they're looking a little squishy. So I really hope they pick up something tanky because Batrider, even though he's a great initiator, he's still squishy. He's not going to be able to soak up all the damage. He's just there to lasso somebody, bring it to the team, finish them off, and from that point on, you try and win the team fight as a 5v4. But I'm not too sure really what Mineski could pick up. They've got a gyrocopter, which I believe they're going to be running mid. I've seen a lot of teams, especially at MPGL, during the first day, every team ran their gyrocopter mid, and it was just an absolute stomp. Oh god, Spirit Breaker, here we go.
I mean, that's definitely one of the heroes that can close the distance with the Drow Ranger and maybe even help the others get closer by like nether striking the Drow Ranger towards your own team, something like that. And of course, just empowering haste, giving everybody extra movement speed, having the gyrocopter just chase people down with rocket barrage a little bit easier. It is a solid enough pick, but one thing we didn't even mention is that Awake, they have been just going through this draft without a single second of reserve time. They did start at 0 just because being late, they did get the draft penalty, so to say. Mineski with the Spirit Breaker now did catch up, only have 1 second themselves, but Awake, they've managed to just draft so far, only using the normal time. But the techie span, what the hell is that all about?
I'm not too sure what the techies ban is. Maybe they're not too sure what they want to ban. Maybe they're just going to keep their options open. Just so that maybe it could be a mind game, or maybe they just didn't really want to waste any reserve time in trying to go for a ban. That's the only thing I could really come up with. But last pick's going to be the Witch Doctor. So they have a support that's going to be able to dish out some damage with the Death Ward. So it's a pretty well-rounded draft if you look at it for Awake.
Yeah, I kind of favor, maybe not favor, but like their lineup at least as well there. I mean, Clockwork, of course, is definitely not going to have an easy time in his offlane. So that's their biggest worry for now, just getting the Clockwork up to level 6 and maybe a little bit of farm there as well, just to tank up a little bit, maybe just casual bracers. Chainmail probably going to be a pretty good pickup this game as well.
Yeah, they could go for that. So Mineski, or they're going to go for the Leshrac. We've been seeing a rise in Leshrac picks. In your opinion, from the games you've seen Leshrac being played, do you think Leshrac has been a high impact hero?
Well, from the games I've personally seen, it's probably like 50-50. Sometimes it just completely wrecks, but it is more around like the entire team synergy, because if you snowball anyway. It's like, can't help that one. But if you snowball, it's great to have a Leshrac on your side, because you can use the Diabolic Edict for faster pushing. You clear out creep waves so extremely fast. But I think even if the game is a little bit bad for this side, Leshrac can still pull out a hell of a lot, like defending. Lightning Storm is excellent in just pushing out the creep waves, getting aggro from them. So I think Leshrac as a core is extremely viable.
Yeah, we could see him as a viable hero. But it's Jules though. I see some of the heroes that Jules plays, and in all honesty, I wouldn't think he'd be a Leshrac kind of person, but I guess they've been practicing with this hero.
I think even the first game I casted of Mineski for the MPGL, it was up against Team Ice. Jules was on the Leshrac and Mineski just won that game hands down. It was so easy for them.
Okay. I probably didn't even watch the game because I look at the hero and it's not that Jules kind of hero. He loves to play those melee frontline carries that they can really dish out some damage. In particular, Troll Warlord last patch. So we'll see how he copes with the Leshrac this game. It really depends on his start, I guess, and whether he can get CS or not. But let's introduce the players really quickly before anything happens, because nobody likes to miss first blood. So I'll introduce Awake. We've got Cal in the Roche Pit. That's going to be playing on our Clockwork. Up towards the Secret Shop, we have III on our Drow Ranger. We have stand-in Gigabytes on our Witch Doctor. T Banmai on the Shadow Fiend. We have Lambesis on our Witch Doctor. And that's pretty much everybody on the side of Awake.
As for Mineski, of course, we already talked about Jules playing the Leshrac there. But Chio is on the Lina at the moment. For a second I was like, whoa, Chio going mid lane, that's not common. Although Jules, he gets stunned up. They need a little bit follow-up though. Jules goes with a nice splitter, although it misses Cal, and there's the power cogs, and that is going to be first blood. The one paralyzing cask just got just enough stun for the Clockwork to close in.
I loved how the Witch Doctor just held on to the stun. He didn't just throw it straight away.
Yeah, patience pays off every now and then, but for the rest of the lineup, 5593 Owa is on the Earthshaker, leaving Cuckoo on the Gyrocopter mid lane. Like I said, it has become a little bit more popular, at least in the Southeast Asian scene. And Chisiwash is the last one, enjoying some free time on the top lane, although that's gonna be so for maybe like another 15-20 seconds because the entire Trident is coming his way.
I think he should be okay. The moment he sees one hero, he's just going to back up at that point. I would have liked if Awake just went together as a team towards the Spirit Breaker. They could potentially kill him. He does have the Charge of Darkness, but I'm pretty sure Awake has enough to kill off Jesse Vash. So in the middle lane, though, looks like we're going to have a bit of a sandwich. And, well, unfortunately, oh, there's actually a Courier Blood already in the mid lane. Also going to lose the Shadow Fiend as well. Oh my god, I lost my tongue there, but a Courier and a mid Shadow Fiend for Mineski. Great turn of events for them, and all of a sudden, game's even.
That's just so damn painful for them, losing the Shadow Fiend like that. Didn't even get that many souls beforehand, but, well, he did lose half of them anyway. Now, of course, Cuckoo has even 2 points into homing missile. I mean, I haven't seen Gyrocopter mid lane myself for quite some time, but like I said, you have seen it in MPGL. Have they also skilled up homing missile first? Or
yes, yeah. Homing Missile, it was the go-to spell for all the mid Gyrocopters because it forces the opposing mid hero into a bit of a weird position. So they get a homing missile to chase after them, and they have to decide whether they're going to run towards the missile and negate some of the damage, but possibly be stunned up right next to a Gyrocopter and be rocket barrage, or they run away, try and kill off the missile, and if they're unlucky, they take quite a bit of damage, because remember there was a buff to homing missile. It does a lot of damage compared to the old missiles, and especially when it gains distance too.
Yeah, it's definitely a high damaging spell there, and of course the stun duration is also pretty solid. So if you can follow it up with the rocket barrage after the hero is stunned, it is definitely lethal range at the very least, if nothing else. And there's the homing missile landing, but Shadow Fiend under his own tower will be just fine for now. Up to 9 lasted, so recovery is pretty nice. He's even surpassed Cuckoo. But of course, just as a Gyrocopter, yes, you can keep on spamming that homing missile. But if there's actually no follow-up to that homing missile and Shadow Fiend plays it correct, for him, just farming actually creeps, like a few Shadow Raises and creep wave down and just rinse and repeat.
So we are going to see a charge from Jesse Vash onto the Shadow Fiend, but he's already on the high ground and supports are nearby as well. So they're going to have to cancel the charge and leave the Shadow Fiend at that point. But I can see what Mineski is doing with this mid Gyrocopter now. He's constantly harassing T with the missile, and when they realize that he's low, they're going to have the charge from Jesse Vash, and they should be able to get a kill onto the Shadow Fiend. But with the way that Awake is playing around the Gyrocopter and the Spirit Breaker, T's not doing too badly.
He's probably gonna go down, slowed down by the Lightning Storm and charge, coming his way as well, so even if he does outrun the others, the charge would have gotten him anyway. But Lina does pick up the kill with the Light Striker Ray. So Clockwork, he has still gotten some pretty nice XP. I mean, he's about to hit level 4, and he was trying at least to box in Lina with just Battery Assault and the Power Cogs. Didn't quite manage to do so, and in the end, with the Earthshaker coming in as well, with Fisher setting things up, they did manage to get the kill. But in the meantime, Shadow Fiend has gone into the jungle, farming up a couple of stacks there. Gonna stack once more before maybe going all the way back home. And that of course does mean that Witch Doctor is in the mid lane, but that homing missile just took half of himself.
This is what I was talking about.
Oh man.
And especially the supports. It's so painful to watch this. So anyone that goes in the mid lane, if they're not tanky, they are going to lose approximately a quarter to a half of their HP pool. So it's not really that fun going up against the Jarrow.
Yeah, it's just really hard in general. I mean, usually if you can help it, you either want to destroy it or just make it be the least distance possible, but if you just go and take the stun in the face, you're gonna have a rocket barrage waiting for you, although might go down anyway because there's a Lina coming in with an invis rune just waiting for it. Homing missile will not get destroyed. Come on, Geo, go! Light strike array, Dragon Slave. Oh, one more attack, and that is the kill. He really needed to pop the Voodoo Restoration before getting stunned for it to work.
That is so painful to watch. But good plays from Mineski, lots of harassment. They've pretty much pushed everybody on the side of Awake away from that mid lane. And if they show their faces, this is what's going to happen. Another missile going to go in the way of T. He's got 700 HP, so he can tank it, and he has bottle charges as well. But look at that amount of damage he did. I don't even know what Awake can really do. Even if they gank the Gyrocopter, he can just come back into lane and just keep doing what he's doing. He's absolutely fine. Kuki's just snowballing out of control.
Of course, he's not getting like too crazy of an amount of last hits at the moment. Of course, being part of 2 kills is nice, but it is definitely still manageable for Awake. And the thing is, going for this kind of a build with the homing missile, when you're in an actual like 5-on-5 fight, especially considering Awake, they do have 4 ranged heroes. The homing missile might just get killed off, and after that, Flacken on only level 1 might not do too much. Oh, Kukudo, where the hell are you going? That's not your side of the map. And with a few Shadow Races and attacks, that's an easy kill on the Gyro.
A little bit greedy, but down bottom, we're going to lose the Clockwork again. Now, he was chased pretty much to the T2 tower at this point. He dies close to it, but again, nice pick up there for Mineski. I actually want to say how strong Lightning Storm is, especially because you get hit with a 75% movement slow. That's massive, especially when you're chasing heroes, and the cooldown for this is so small, it's ridiculous. 4-second cooldown on a Lightning Storm. Now there may be an engagement here. We've got the 2 supports wanting to come in, but they need someone else. They're probably going to have to wait for the Clockwork to port in. He is going back to base, he has a TP, and he is going to come in right now, the 2 supports. They want to try and go for a wraparound. Jules is there, but the supports are behind him as well, so we'll see how this goes. Now the Clockwork, he's absolutely isolated from the fight. He's just stuck in the corner of the supports. They want to try and go into Jules. Very squishy. They actually won't get him just yet. He's still alive for 63 HP, and they're going to lose the Lina though. But Jules going to go in the tree. He's going to try and TP. Just 2 more right clicks and they get him. They will. So 2 heroes down for Mineski. They do not lose Owa. But great pickups for Awake. But never mind. Kuku going to come in from the back lines. He wants that Clockwork. Clockwork lives for a second longer from the bottle charge. But he does go down. But still favourable trade there for Awake. Because they managed to get the safe lane farming Leshrac and the support only for their off lane.
I think Leshrac just stuck around maybe for a little bit too long. He turned around for that 1 additional Lightning Storm. Although without that one, I think maybe the Light Strike Array clipping with both the Witch Doctor as well as the Vengeful might have been enough. But in the end, they do come back, get the tier 1 down, so it's still gonna be worth it. Unless the Drow Ranger puts a huge amount of pressure on the top tier 1 as well. Although she is pushing in, and the attack speed from only just even a level 1 marksmanship is pretty massive.
We actually haven't said anything about II on the Drow Ranger, and he's farming pretty well, just a little bit behind the Shadow Fiend, but Shadow Fiend, he can farm the jungle. But this Drow Ranger, he's getting a lot of farm. Gonna go for the double Wraithband build. So he's just gonna go for stats. Do you think he's just picked this up because he's scared of all the burst on Mineski?
Probably so, although I think you could have just gone for like a straight up Yasha, or at least maybe 2 Wraithbands max. Going for the 3rd one as well if you have this great of a farm anyway is maybe a little bit of a waste. Oh, mid lane, hookshot into Kuku, 1 Shadow Raised, he gets the cooldown and it might end up with the Clockwork dying himself. Oh no, the Power Cogs pushing Geo back even though the Power Cogs were on the low ground. He needs the Light Strike Array to land, and land it does, and with the Dragon Slave does get the counter kill, and with that hits level 6 for Laguna Blade.
Up top, we're going to have Jules go down as well. 3 heroes going down for Mineski. So Spirit Breaker as well as Jules on the Leshrac. They wanted to try and go for kills onto II, but Awake, they were all there. And they just pretty much counter kill Mineski at that point. So a little bit greedy there from our Filipino squad.
Yeah, a little bit might even be an understatement here, but Mineski, they aren't even looking all that good, whereas Awake, considering that they have probably at least 3 stand-ins playing for them, they're looking pretty solid for that. Shadowfiend has excellent farm, of course, has been a part of now 5 kills. Only died once, and that was before he even got any kills himself. So just free net worth after that point. And oh, top lane Couchor wants to go once more. Has a double damage. jDL6 though cancels his TP. And that might just be the end of the duration for now.
Yeah, they're kind of hanging around there waiting for heroes to just pop out of position, but they know the majority of Awake is there. So they're just going to play it safe at this point. They knew what happened last time. They know it can happen again. So I like how they're just being a little bit more patient this time. They don't have to rush for the kills because down bottom, they have Jules. He's pushing the lane by himself, and because Awake is so busy up top, he may be able to get something done down here. So Mineski just buying time for Jules at this point.
Yeah, it's really the fact at the moment that although Leshrac can definitely push rather fast with just clearing out the creep waves with Lightning Storm, Double Kick, only level 1, but even then, it does do quite a bit of damage on the tower if it's like focused fire that way. But the thing is, you have nice movement speed, but even then, when like a Clockwork TP's in, you just might go down without being able to do much of anything if you get hookshotted there. But top lane Geo still looking for the angle for a Light Striker jDL6. Charges in, doesn't have a level 6, doesn't even have level 5, it's 10 minutes in. Although with the cooldown they will secure that 1 kill. Laguna Blade of course definitely helping with the burst. Now though Couchor in a bit of trouble, does get the Rocket Barrage, level 3 as well, might get Cal here, Clockwork. Is it tanky enough? I think just about indeed with the bullet charges. And maybe the Paralyzing Cask helped there a little bit as well, but... Another dive, yes they get the Drow Ranger, but is it worth it in the end?
I feel like it's even. It was a free farming Drow Ranger though, so probably a little bit more of a win there for Mineski, but are they going to go balls deep? They want to go for the Lina, and it looks like they will be able to do one more raise as well as a right click, and that's going to be it. Dressy Vash though, he's going to go down to the Death Ward. TP in though, coming in from Oa. He gets an Echo Slam off, but only really connects onto the Shadowfiend. He won't even get him though, because the rest of his team is there. Couchor by himself, he wants the kill. T is still alive, and the rest of Awake, they're going to be there to reinforce. They have to kill the missile. Kill the missile, I do get it. Oh my goodness. Jules, he's going to come in, he wants to rescue his team. They get 1 kill on the Shadowfiend, they will get another one onto the Venge. No, he won't get it! The Venge is still alive, and Jules, he's thinking, oh my god, where is he? And there's the TP out. Such a horrible team fight there for Mineski. That was even a buyback on the Gyro too. Massive gold swing going in the way of Awake.
That's, well, I'd say almost as bad as can be. Maybe if Jules had come in and also died on the Leshrac, it could have been even worse, but... Even if it came in, yes, they got the kill on the Shadowfiend, and I think it was a rather huge spree on the Shadowfiend as well at the time. But even so, just this Gyrocopter having to buy back like that. Look at his net worth now, 3.7k. I suppose Drow Ranger isn't that much higher, but this Shadowfiend this game has just done so much work. Has the mech or has had it for some time already. Ogre Club on top of that now, tanking up a little bit, and once he gets a BKB, what do Mineski actually do against him?
There's not really that much. They don't have anything to pierce Magic Immunity, which is going to be a problem with them. And if you look at Mineski's draft, their only physical right clicker out of all the heroes is probably just going to be that, it's just going to be, oh, I don't even want to say the Spirit Breaker. Spirit Breaker doesn't even hit hard because he's in a off-lane / support position. So Gyrocopter is essentially the only right clicker, so he's the only hero that Mineski can rely on to bring down anyone with the BKB, but he's still hitting like a pea shooter. He's not hitting like a truck yet. They still need farm on the Gyro. They put a lot of emphasis onto everyone else on the side of Mineski, so we'll see if this is going to be punished by Awake or if it's going to work out in their favor eventually. The game's still relatively early, so any sort of swing is possible. Mid lane though, Jules going to be targeted down by 3 heroes on the side of Awake. Mineski's just getting picked apart.
There's just so much pain for Mineski, although there's a minor positive that Owa is up to 1.4k gold on the Earthshaker. So for a team that is on the losing side for now, and you being a support Earthshaker, you might get a fairly reasonably timed blink there from it, although you might see a kill on Witch Doctor, although not quite enough damage there. There's the Paralyzing Cast, even went for the Death Ward, which gets cancelled immediately with the death of the Witch Doctor by the Fisher. So they get 1 kill in return, a charge coming in as well. They might even get the Shadowfiend here, and if they do, it's gonna be a rather huge one. They do pop the Echo Slam for it, but that is worth the investment for sure. But in the meantime, we did see Gyro go down bottom lane.
And the Aegis as well claimed by II. So that's going to be a massive item on the Drow Ranger. So even if he dies, he's going to have that second life to work with. So I'm expecting Awake to play aggressive with this Aegis. Or if not aggressive, then just keep on farming on these heroes. Because if you look at II, he's still pretty poor. He's got a bit of gold in the bank, but he needs a lot more than this to really come online in the fights. He has maxed out the Gust though, which is going to be a very useful asset in those team fights.
Yeah, not only that, thanks to the Roshan XP and now killing the Charcopter, it does mean she has hit level 11, so one more point into marksmanship. And the thing is, yes, may not have the most items herself, but still giving 45 damage to 3 other teammates of their team, so that also just helps a little bit. It's actually pretty sickening if you think about it. 2 damage at the moment because the strength treads were activated, but 45 damage, it's like a free demon age for everybody.
Yeah. So all your supports are even going to start hitting hard at this point. And also don't forget there's a Vengeance aura as well. So that's going to be even more damage going in the way of Awake. So they're all hitting like glass cannons. They've got the Clockwork for that frontline damage, whereas Mineski, I feel like they're just frantically searching for something to come back into the game, because they had I don't want to call it a odd draft. It's unique. They're trying new things. It worked okay for a while, but it comes to a point where your biggest weakness is going to be Magic Community / BKB. And if you don't have a physical right clicker to counter out the BKB heroes, what can you do? There's just nothing that they could really do at this point.
Well, they do have a Blink Dagger and Earthshaker now, so that makes their own aggression a little bit more effective if they want to go for some. But most importantly, it's just gonna make pushing harder for Awake, because if there's a threat of a blinking Echo Slam there, it's just so much harder to go up there, and you can't really just pop. Well, I suppose you can go high ground, pop your 10-second BKBs and just use them to purely only push instead of fighting, and then back off once the BKBs are about to wear off, but that's really not the most optimal thing you can do.
Yeah, so we see a Bloodstain picked up onto Jules. Pretty standard on a Leshrac in all honesty. We'll have to see if he can actually accumulate Bloodstone charges, because Jules, he's died quite a few times this game. He's died 4 times, he's killed twice, and he's got 2 assists. So his score is not that impressive. Bloodstone is a big investment, so we'll see if he's able to pick up some of those charges so that he can actually start being that scary threat that he had to be during the early game.
Well, Awake, do they have another BKB flying? No, it's just the one. I thought like maybe Drow has it as well already, would have been rather disastrous. Although there's the Lightning Storm, Blink, Echo Slam as well. 2 heroes so low and 2 heroes are dead. But the hookshot comes in, so Earthshaker probably gonna lose his life, but they got 2 cores down beforehand, and now Drow Ranger. Laguna Blade, easy kill there, might have even have the Mass Commanders activated. The charge comes into the Witch Doctor. I can't believe what a fight this is. Light Tracker Ray clips on the Lambes is vengeful, and just a full-on team wipe, and surprisingly enough, even the Earthshaker somehow survived.
That was the best fight that Mineski could have asked for. They were looking so rough. It was looking so rough for them for a while. Then they managed to take a complete team wipe and the Aegis. And all of a sudden they get 3.3k gold in their pockets. 3.3k gold. That is a massive amount of gold going into your team. So with that, that's going to be some more items going in the way of Mineski, and that they will be able to stay toe-to-toe with Awake. I can't help but feel like Awake, they should have known something was going to be on the high ground. They could have just left the Drow Ranger by herself to hit the tower because she had the Aegis. Jessie Vash just being hit a little bit, but he is able to charge out. But yeah, like I said, I feel like Awake, they didn't have to have the Shadow Fiend there. They could have just left the Drow. She would have been fine. She had the Aegis anyway. She would have had that second life. So maybe just getting a little too ahead of themselves.
Yeah, this also may come down to just lack of communication being, well, a half-standing team at the moment. Usually you probably have like certain players like scout out certain positions and whatnot. It's like always the support like goes to the high ground, for example, see if anything's coming from that way, and if there is something coming, it's only a support you're losing at the start of the fight, so it's not that big of a deal maybe. But they completely lack that. Like you said, they just should have put the Drow Ranger up there. But Jules up to 14 Blaststone charges now, and I believe you also get now a Blaststone charge from just the Aegis popping, right? Because I think he just picked up the Bloodstone like before that fight a little bit earlier, but I don't think they had a kill before, so it being up to 14 charges means 6 kills, so I think the Aegis also counts.
I guess so. Do you? I don't actually pick up.
I know with a Legion Commander, for example, if there's an Aegis or if you just go into the Wraith King, for example, you
yep.
still get extra damage even if he comes back to life. Oh, Drow Ranger gets the Gust before the Fissure somehow. Was the Earthshaker himself cancelling the Fissure at the start?
I don't think so. Oh, there's the hook shot there. They're going to go onto Cal. Actually, no, never mind. That's G. They're going to be able to get him. Actually, he's just Glimmer Caped. He's just going to hang around. He is going to get right in the middle of the fight. So Guna Blade as well as LSA onto II. And, well, G, he's still alive. Drow Ranger, they're going to keep on chasing after him with the Frost Arrows. But Alina looking really fast at this point. She will have another Glimmer Cape available if she needs to. But looks like Awake not able to chase her. There's the Glimmer Cape. There's no detection on the side of Awake, I believe. So there's the smoke. They put the sentry down and Lena is out of there. So just an Earthshaker for nothing at this point. Oh, Earthshaker as well as a Leshrac.
Yeah, that's actually just suddenly 5 Bloodstone charges lost, and I even think there was a tiny chance that the Leshrac could escape after the swap out. I really thought the swap actually saved or well helped the Leshrac at least, but he still committed suicide. The suicide though did get some life back to Gio's Lena, I suppose. But in the meantime, Spirit Breaker somehow has managed to get level 11 and farm up a Shadow Blade. So he's not looking even all that bad all of a sudden, and if you look at the graphs, net worth is zeroed out, XP about 1500 in the favor of Mineski even. But we do have another BKB this time around. It's on the Drow Ranger for Awake, so they have double BKBs, a 10 and a 9-second one. And Mineski, I hardly doubt that they're gonna get such a surprise initiation as the last time.
If Awake play correctly, they should not allow Mineski any sort of initiation like that, especially coming from an Earthshaker. So we'll see how Awake plays it out. Jules, he wants to keep on pushing. He has already popped the Diabolic Edict and he will get the tower. No one from Awake really wanting to defend it though. They're just kind of sitting around together in the middle lane. So they have a smoke available. They popped the smoke previously, they do. So there's going to be the smoke gank. But will they find anybody?
Doesn't really look like it. Although another caster wants to purchase Moon Shard, so that's always nice. Although if there was a Moon Shard, I guess maybe like a Spirit Breaker later on. Although if it's really late, like anybody can just purchase it for the extra dex. Although Cuckoo might be in trouble. Kyle has the hookshot, easy land on the Cuckoo, doesn't have a BKB yet on the Sharkcopter. He's gonna go down so fast. Swap onto Chesivash, that's just 2 easy kills for them. And those heroes don't have buybacks.
I'm surprised Jesse Vash walked into all those heroes. I was expecting him to just pretty much walk out of there, but he gives his life away. That's a lot of gold as well going in the way of Awake. 1.4k gold from those 2 heroes. That's a lot of gold you're giving away to the dire side. So Mineski, they want to try and go for their own counter gank here with their own smoke. They've got G leading the way. He has his Glimmer Cape available, and Owa, he's there with the Blink Dagger at the ready. Who will they get though? If they can get II, that'll be the best pickup they can ask for. Glimmer Cape gonna get into position. There's the LSA. There's the Blink forward, Laguna Blade, and they throw everything to get the Drow Ranger. Not even a second to pop the BKB, but I didn't even think they would have saved her. Although towards Secret Shop, they might lose the Venge. LSA gonna keep her in place, and they do pick her off. So Mineski, 2 really good pickoffs, 1 very important one on the Drow. That was probably the most important kill that they could have gotten.
Yeah, they actually maybe even would have locked out if he had gotten the BKB off, but like just before death to have the 10-second BKB charge wasted. But even then, they're definitely gonna take the trait that they got. Chesivash now Shadow Bladed up. Is he gonna go try to sneak past the tower and maybe scout out something, maybe charge into Witch Doctor like that? Although, look at Owa, also Earthshaker. Has he Force Step? Has a Blink Dagger? He's just trying to be sneaky. There's the Force Step with the Fissure to follow. The charge coming in as well, although I think Witch Doctor is just far enough. Chesivash, so he doesn't care much. But with the Glimmer Cape providing invincibility, he's gonna have to just back out.
Oh, there's actually a hook shot, and they're gonna get G on the Lina. If there was a Force Up, actually still there for a little bit longer. They just need a little bit more damage. Oh, they're actually gonna keep him in there with the cast, and they do finish him up with the raise. Now Jesse Vash, there's the Gust to just keep his team alive. There's the Echo Slam onto 4 heroes, but there's no follow-up damage. They have to Force Up. Oh, but he's just stuck in the trees. He got found down. He's gonna go down as well. And Jules, by himself, he's a very fast Leshrac, 4 staff at the ready if necessary, but he didn't even have to use it. That was tragic for Mineski. That could not have gone better for Awake.
That started really weird as well. I mean, the Earthshaker, not the Earthshaker, what am I saying? The Spirit Breaker charging that far forward, and well, they did almost manage to save the Lina, but Paralyzing Cask, if it gets the max amount of bounces, it is by far the best ability in this game, at least for level 1 ability there. Or not level 1, but just a normal spell, so to say, not an ultimate. And suddenly, But you know, Roshan is also down, and it is so easy. I mean, you have a medallion, you have Wave of Terror, Presence of the Dark Lord is also maxed out by now. Although Jules, what are you doing, Leshrac? Well, he just wants to get this clockwork. The charge was on him, but the one Lightning Storm was not enough, and suddenly he's the one on the run.
He should be okay. He has a 4-star coming on cooldown very soon, so it looks like Awake, they're just going to let him live. They're saying, okay, we're going to give you a chance, you can get away. Just don't come back in our jungle ever again, because we will find you. Actually, T wants to farm up the creep wave and Jules. He wants to farm it up as well. Might be a little bit greedy though. T is nearby, and is there any more nearby as well? The 2 supports are there. There's the Gust. They're going to manage to keep Oa in place. There's a stun as well. They will get the kill onto the Earthshaker, and actually Cuckoo's going to be there as well. Jules, his BKB is... Actually, he doesn't even have a BKB, so never mind. They lose the Mental Spirit though for Awake, and they're trying to chase after II, but they will get Jesse Bash stuck in the cogs. There's the Gust to keep him in place as well. There's the Hookshot as well to commit to the kill. 2 heroes down for Mineski. They get 1 support though, but definitely not worth it.
That was actually pretty sick coming out from Awake. First the power cogs, then the Gust pushed him slightly out, then the cogs just pushed him further still. So much to just stop the ultimate, the Nether Strike from coming out even. But another just somewhat good engagement for Awake there, and although I have to say it's still only the Shadow Fiend and the Drow Ranger kind of farming up. If you look at the supporting cast, they're not really getting much accomplished. So Mineski, it's a little bit more balanced, the farm on their side, but then again, it is still, unfortunately for them, magic based. I mean, Drow Ranger, he just popped the BKB in that fight and didn't care about anything else.
Yeah, the BKBs are very problematic for Mineski, but what can they do? They don't have a natural Abyssal Blade carrier. They don't really have any heroes aside from the Spirit Breaker that's going to bash at this point. Gyrocopter,
Earthshaker, Abyssal Blade, easy.
If you're still playing, yeah, Chico. Cuckoo eventually will get MKB, so he has a little bit of a mini bash to work with. Or is that actually a magical bash? Because I've never actually played with... I think it's a magical bash.
I can't say
MKB.
Either, I must say. Let's...
I believe.
In the shop it probably tells us, or I guess it doesn't. Passive mini bash. Well, it should be a
Oh,
proper
there's
mini
the
bash.
hook shot. They get the hookshot though onto Lena. There's the 4-star though. He has the Glimmer Cape available. Cuckoo though gonna hold his position. He wants to fight, but well, he wants to come in from the backline. He has the Aegis, so even if he dies, it's fine. There's the Gust. They're gonna connect on a couple of heroes, and he wants to keep going, but Jesse Bash is gonna stun him up again with the charge for a little bit longer. BKB deployed by II. They do get the Gyrocopter, very big target. Aegis has been popped though, but I think this is where Awake just say, okay, we won the fight. It's fine. We lose Aegis. There's a swap there. They're gonna manage to get Jules. Can they keep him in place though? He was. I don't know, he just kind of moved funny, but that's okay. Echo Slam going to connect onto 3 heroes. So will they actually finish up with some follow-up damage? They do get the Drow. They will manage to get the Clockwork. And actually the Shadow Fiend's going to go down as well. He did pop the Requiem, but does he have any more sort of healing? He's fighting up against Cuckoo just a little bit more the uphill. Going to save him for that little bit longer, but the Dragon Slave's going to pick him off in the end. Oh, that was a crazy fight, but Awake.
Yeah, so once again, just... They were really, or Mineski at least, they were playing with fire. Lots of them were dropping low, but in the end, they managed to just bait out enough abilities. Of course, Awake, they had to use quite a bit to even try to get Jules down. But Jules, he didn't even run all the way back home. He just came back in, relied on the, well, not the lifesteal, but the health regen from the Bloodstone. And just from the edge of the fight, kept on spamming like Split Earth, Lightning Storm as well there. And of course, Geo, I think his 3-man Light Strike Ray was what set most of that one up.
I think it was as well, but objective has been secured by Mineski. They're getting mid at T2 tower, but it looks like that's all they're really going to get. Oh, Hookshot is available if they want to pop it, but unfortunately a Clockwork by himself is not going to be able to kill a Leshrac no matter how much you want to. You have a 10-second BKB available onto Jules though. This is pretty big. Guess there's a lot of physical damage on Awake, but if you can't lock down the Leshrac, he's pretty quick. He can get in and out of the fights if he really wants to.
Yeah, also with the BKB you can just go and run straight at the Drow Ranger, so if you can get close to her, it's just gonna be marksmanship disabled, and even though there's even quite a bit of physical damage after the fact, it should be manageable as long as the rest of Mineski are also like creating a little bit of chaos, maybe stunning out a couple of targets and whatnot. But it's really at the moment that the Gyrocopter needs more farm. I mean, the support Lina has more net worth than this Gyro for now, just because Gyro has been dying in most fights, 8 deaths to his name.
I don't actually see a problem with Lina having more net worth than the gyrocopter. If she picks up an Aghanims, that's pretty much all she needs for the rest of the game, but she is going to get pretty close. 3k gold so far onto G. Once he picks up the Ags though, he's going to be pretty scary on his own, and I think with that done and dusted, then Cuckoo's going to be able to have some farm solely for himself. Because if you look at Mineski, they've been sharing the farm with all their team. They've got really rich supports. You have a Spirit Breaker who hasn't really progressed in terms of item progression, because firstly, Spirit Breakers don't really excel in farming. He just gets it from assists. So it opens up the map for everybody else on the side of Mineski, except for poor Cuckoo. Cuckoo had such a good start, but how far has he fallen?
Yeah, it was really just him having some fun on the lane, spamming homing missile onto every target he sees. But yeah, those times end pretty fast. I mean, homing missile just isn't really the team fight kind of ability. Maybe if you have a Weaver on the enemy side, but oh, hookshot into Chisivage, don't think you can escape this, or can he shadow blade it up? There is no detection. There are sentries, they finally pop one as well, but now he's already out of range. This Witch Doctor was just way too slow on popping down the sentry.
He disconnected, so I think that's the only reason why he put it down so slowly. Maybe he was lagging or something, and then he just DC'd. Not too sure.
Yeah, a little bit unlucky there for a wake. Just having the one guy you need to actually set up the kill disconnect. It could have been so easy. Just sentry down, draw ranger, pop Mask of Madness. I mean, hitting for almost 300 damage after all. So it could have been extremely fast for them, but yeah, Spirit Breaker escapes. Of course, it's not that big of a deal for a wake either, though. Maybe Witch Doctor won't be that happy that he had to spend a little bit of gold for this sentry, but this sentry is in a position that, with a little bit of luck, it may still get some use out of it.
Yeah, they may be able to use it to just spot an incoming gank. Who knows? Sometimes you put sentry down, ends up being an accident, and then all of a sudden your accident pays off. It happens. So we've had a bit of downtime actually. Do we see any big item pickups?
I don't think yet, just double SNYs on Awake, of course, one on Shadowfiend, one on the Drow. Boots of Travels, I suppose, and Jewels are maybe somewhat big. Other than that, I don't think there have been many upgrades in the recent past here.
There are so many Glimmer Capes this game though. 4 Glimmer Capes. 1 on Oa, 1 on G, 1 on Witch Doctor, and 1 on Lambistis as well.
It's
Cool
such a common item, even with the nerf to it, but it just goes to show that this nerf was extremely necessary, if it's even now still strong enough to just warrant it. To be honest, if you're awake, you kind of need it, but on Mineski's side, it feels more like providing the invisibility utility rather than the magic resistance.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to really explain why Mineski decides to pick it up. You could probably use it as we have seen it actually being used as a positional tool by G. Remember down the bottom lane, they went for a gank and G just popped it to get in a position for the LSA onto Drow. So really creative play really with a defensive item.
Well, I suppose if you just, let's say, pop it on a Spirit Breaker when he charges in on the Shadow Fiend, for example, just anybody who is going to be extremely close to the Shadow Fiend when he's dying, having a Glimmer Cape on that target is going to be worth it. But Shadow Fiend really is like almost the only source of magical damage on Awake. But
so we're almost going to see the eggs. Oh.
We might see a jump, although of course there's a BKB on Shadow Fiend and he's really charging forward rather boldly. There is an Observer Ward down now, and oh, Cal is going to get stunned up by Jules immediately. Pulse Nova doing a crap ton of damage, and there should be a kill as well. Indeed, there is going to be Owa. Picks that one up. Jules though had to use his BKB for that. But the damage from level 3 Pulse Nova while they're getting split earth at the same time is just ridiculous.
And Clockwork had a cloak as well, so take into consideration his magical resistance. He's got 40% magical resistance, and to go down so quickly, that just goes to show how much damage Jules is outputting by himself. This is also without a Veil of Discord, without an Agonist Scepter, so he's pretty painful.
So, oh, top lane, Chisivage now might be in trouble. There's the Gust to silence him, but there was a sentry. Dust was popped, but a little bit too far away for Lampesis. This sentry that was placed earlier did help them a little bit now, but still unable to properly catch up. And with this, they have bought enough time for Lina to finish the Aghanim Scepter. Level 3 Laguna Blade, 950 pure damage. Oh man, this is getting tough. If you look at the graphs as well, there's about an 8,000 lead now for Mineski. In net worth XP, a little bit more so, but more or less at the same level there. So, Awake, they like had an advantage, lost it, had it again, lost it once more, but it's getting tougher and tougher for them to just regain that.
I feel sorry for this Witch Doctor. He's got only 17 HP above the Lina Laguna Blade threshold. So if you just want to delete the Witch Doctor from the game, just Laguna him. Oh, this is going to be such a hard game. He's got Glimmer Cape though. No, actually, no, never mind. Glimmer Cape's not going to help. It's pure damage. So this is going to be a sad game for that Witch Doctor if he gets deleted.
Oh, Radiant though, looks like they're about to smoke up. Of course, they don't have Jesse Vash with them because once again Spirit Breaker pushing out the top lane. But he's gonna get hookshotted this time around. Clockwork himself doesn't have any vision, but they know the Spirit Breaker has to be in there. Come on, yep, charges his way to safety, or well, relative safely, gets stunned up in between, and now Paralyzing Cask a few attacks. He's finally gonna pay the price, but it does open up Roshan for him.
This is really good for Mineski. They lose the Spirit Breaker, but to get the Roshan, this is also the third one of the game, so Cheese is going to be available too. This is massive for Mineski. Massive advantage. They can be aggressive with this, or they can just hang on to them and use them defensively if they need to buy time for Cuckoo to get some more farm. Because if you look at Cuckoo, he's just picked up a fresh Helm of the Dominator plus the 2.2k gold on top of that. So he's not hitting hard yet, but he's prepping for the late game.
Man, and late game, well, I suppose both teams have some pretty solid late game. Mineski, of course, they will have to rely on those PKBs getting shorter and shorter, and looking at the durations left for the Drow, it is 8 seconds for Shadow Fiend, down to 7, so they haven't really been forced to use them all that often, although they had it for quite some time. The Shadow Fiend now, with the help of Eye of Skadi and the Vengeance Aura, is hitting for about 400 damage per pop, so it's definitely quite a bit. If you also take into consideration the amount of minus armor that their team can bring out. Top lane though, Jules, he has the Aegis, but being there by himself, if he dies once, it's likely he's gonna die twice.
He wants to turn around for the Witch Doctor. There's the Glimmer Cape and 4 staff, and looks like Jules can be punished here. So, unfortunately, Jules, he wanted to just grab a quick and easy kill and to get out of there, but way too greedy. Now all of a sudden he has to pop the BKB. He is slowed up though by our Shadow Fiend. There's even going to be a I don't know if that was just a kind of Requiem dance, because he cast it and he's like, okay, never mind, he's gonna have BKB, I'm just gonna cancel at this point. But he just kind of taunting his enemy with the Requiem.
I think had the Glimmer Cape not come out from Geo onto Jules, they probably would have just kept on channeling that, because even if you don't get the max damage, you will still get the movement speed slow from the Requiem if it hits. But in the meantime, Awake, they've had it. Lambesis goes for a gem finally as the Vengeful Spirit. And I have to say, had they just had gem maybe like on the Clockwork, they could have gotten so many kills so much easier, but it's funny to see how Mineski, they've rotated themselves to the top lane and leaving now Spirit Breaker to push out bottom lane. So they're just slowly but surely eliminating all the outer towers and preparing themselves for a high ground push, although I think they might wait for Jules to finish the Hex before that happens.
There is a problem though with Mineski's draft. They have pushed with the Leshrac, but he actually has to get really close to the tower to do so. So going up high ground for Mineski is going to be almost impossible unless they actually kill off some of the Awake heroes. Hookshot will miss though. They wanted to go into Jules, so that's going to be a missed opportunity for Awake. And actually, never mind, they're going to lose the Vengeful Spirit. There's actually the gem on the deck, and all of a sudden it's already been swiped. Lina going to try and make a getaway with her kill. Glimmer Cape has been deployed on the Witch Doctor, but they can't catch these heroes. They're way too fast. Oh, is there with the Fissure, and looks like Jules. They want to kill this poor Witch Doctor. He's all alone by himself. There's the mech to keep him alive a little bit longer, and well, he wants to go after Lesh, but unfortunately no gem. They have no detection. Wraithband on the ground though. The gem is on the Drow Ranger this time. BKB has been deployed, and is Awake going to fight into this? They shouldn't have to, so they're going to make a retreat at this point. Oh well. Just force staffing yourself forward, but the creeps being so annoying. There's the Couchor onto II. They're going to try and keep the heroes in place. The Drow as well as Shadow Fiend are there. BKBs have been deployed. Shadow Fiend going to keep on fighting a Cuckoo. He's by himself. II doing a lot of damage. Oh, Mineski, they're kind of lost at this point. Jules, he wants to try and go for the stun onto Cal. There's the charge as well, just to keep the Clockwork in place. He has a 4th staff available. There's the missile, so he will most definitely go down. That's going to be the end of the clock. So 3 heroes down for Awake, and the tower is almost dead for Mineski. So this is probably going to be the high ground attempt that Mineski wants to go for. Aegis is still around. Oh, Aegis, sorry, the cheese.
Yeah, they still have the cheese, and did they hand it to the Lesh?
Oh,
No?
actually, I think cheese has been used.
I guess it. Oh, yeah, Couchor used it, of course. He
Oh,
was
yeah,
dropping
yeah.
pretty low, was I think also low on mana due to the power box pushing him back a couple of times. So there's no cheese, but jDL6 will have a BKB shortly. Although they of course can back out as well. They are definitely farming better at the moment. If they can like last 2-3 fights somewhat convincingly as well. And Jules only 800 gold short of a Hex for himself. Although their team could really use like a Shiva's card or AC or something like that to also buff up their just physical resistance.
There's a lot of things that Mineski could pick up if they want to. I'm actually hoping that jDL6 finishes up a Silver Edge. Because Silver Edge, the debuff, is going to be so useful up against the Drow, against the Shadow Fiend. So having an item like that will be a great asset for the team. Any other items? I don't think we're going to see any other new items, because I don't think any of them would really benefit Mineski, aside from Moonshard, but I'm only expecting Moonshards to be picked up when the Gyrocopter is already 6 slot.
Yeah, it definitely is that kind of an item. Maybe if you're like an IO Tiny combination, you can go for it earlier on as well before it actually 6 slotted, but it definitely feels like a luxury item to say the least. But Gyrocopter does finish the Monkey King Bar instead. So finally actually getting some form of attack damage for himself as well here. And with the Flak Cannon, he's starting to do quite a bit. There are like no Ghost Scepters or anything to help the Awake side survive that. And if you look at the graphs once more, whoa, 16,000 net worth lead now, XP about 17,000 even. So Mineski, they're just, at least it feels like they're kind of strangling Awake without Awake even being aware of it.
Yeah, I can't help but feel like Awake feels that they're more ahead than they actually are. They are sitting in a defensive position, but you see how the way they actually team fight as a team, they go in pretty deep. So they're probably thinking that they're a little bit further ahead than this just because they're running the Shadow Fiend Drow combo. So we'll see if they can actually defend what could be a push from Mineski. They were thinking about it, but looks like they're just going to back up. Hex has been completed on Jules though, so very big item pickup. That's going to be a pretty core item when it comes to initiation.
Yeah, and do we have any other item pickups, or big ones at least, coming out? Does look like Drow is somewhat close to maybe a Skadi, maybe a Manta style. Probably I'd say a Manta style, I think. But they just need like one break in the fights, one initiation on their own terms, and just the ability for the Drow and the Shadow Fiend to just kind of stand and deliver, because last fight, for example, it was just a sloppy disengagement from their side. And they just got caught off one by one mostly at the moment. They're smoked up, looking for something, but does feel like Mineski also knows that the scouting unit is out from Awake.
Oh, don't go this way, don't go that way, it's a trap! It's a trap! Actually, never mind, he gets the blink off, but Hookshot's gonna be there as well, and he's gonna go down Glimmer Cape to keep him alive for a little bit longer, but the gem is there. He will live for that tiny bit longer, but all of a sudden, his own gem is on the deck. There's a swap Cuckoo in the middle of 5 heroes, and he's gonna go down as well! Cuckoo! Bit of awkward positioning, but he will be hexed up by Jules. The Lina is there as well, but Glimmer Cape playing forward as well. They have to force start these heroes out. Mineski, they cannot afford to fight into this. Actually, T going balls deep into this. He's got no Aegis or anything, but he's going all the way into the Lina. No way for her to escape. And Mineski, they've just been picked apart by this gank from Awake. jDL6, what are you doing? He wants to go for a kill by himself. He has to try and get out of there. And the cogs being super annoying to Owa. They're going to keep on trying to go onto II, but BKB has been deployed as well as the Death Ward. Buybacks have been used by Mineski. They want to defend and Awake. They get massive kills, and I'm pretty sure if I were them, I would just back up. I'd be happy with the kills that I got.
Yeah, not only do they get the kills, they forced 2 buybacks on top of that. So it was from just one fight, like a 7k net worth swing.
There's the hook shot! Oh, the hook shot connected under Jules, but Cal by himself. There's the fight there. They're going to finish off Jules. 4-Staff actually is alive for a little bit longer. G, though, he's going to be in the middle of the team fight. Aegis Slam onto 3 heroes by Owa. But where's the damage from Mineski? jDL6, your Spirit Breaker can't do anything at Owa. Glimmer Cape, but that's not going to save you once there's a gem as well. I think that's it. That was a massive loss for Mineski. Just outplayed.
I mean, it's... they pretty much let themselves be outplayed because they played that fight so poorly. First of all, Gyrocopter even going in, they could have just said like, okay, Earthshaker is dying, that's fine, this is support, let's just split push, keep farming, we still have our tier 2s, nothing to be afraid of. But they kept on going in, Jules, he gets 4-stepped forward, And he's gonna lose his life as well. He's gonna be up rather shortly. Cuckoo doing a lot of damage with the flak cannon. But he needs so little more. The Drow Ranger unable to survive. Now Spirit Breaker Chichivash comes in. He cleans up a triple kill for them. Nether Strike into the Gigabyte Witch Doctor, and well, it is an ultra kill, so they, against all odds, just defend with the two of them.
I think we just had a 3-2-2 versus a 3-2-2. Who could throw the most?
Look at the damage Gyro did. 6,100 damage.
That was the flat cannon.
Just like, what? 6.1.
I know.
Who needs other members, man? Just let Gyrocopter, but as we saw from like when he got picked off earlier, if Awake are given the time to just actually attack, they bring the Gyrocopter down as well with like 3-4 attacks themselves in combination with the Shadow Fiend and the Drow. But now counter buybacks have been forced, at least one of those. This game, just who cares about gold XP advantage? It's really just better positioning in certain fights.
Oh, blink back by the Shadow Fiend. He was being charged by Jesse Bash, but nice reactions. He will have the blink dagger constantly ticked because of the earn charge. But what can Awake do? The heroes are respawning, and Mineski, they managed to take T3 tower and they have to get out of there. TP was cancelled by Awake. Actually, they didn't really want to leave anyone out there just in case they got ambushed. But Mineski, they grab a T3 tower, whereas earlier Awake couldn't even grab their own T3 tower. Look how healthy the Mineski T3 tower is. So if anything, Mineski gets the best trade out of all of those team fights, even though they lost a lot of heroes and buybacks as well.
Yeah, it's just the fact that Awake, at least it feels like they can only fight when they really get a massive surprise element into it, or when they have all of their spells up for them. Whereas, or not only spells, but they also need those PKBs. But once the PKBs are down, like we saw from last time, yes, they won one fight, but for the follow-up, even though there was only 2 heroes alive on Mineski's side, they just didn't have their PKBs, and suddenly like Gyrocopter comes in, gets massive value from the cooldown. And Lishrak, I suppose, even though he died rather fast at the start of the fight by being force-stepped into the enemies, he did still just get a little bit of like Pulse Nova and Lightning Storm damage before that. So PKBs are a necessity, and they are down to 5 seconds on the Drow and also 5 on the Shadow Fiend. Although Shadow Fiend, look at how tanky he is. Is this a problem though? It's because he's building all of those like utility slash tank items for himself. Is it gonna have enough damage?
He will always have enough damage so long as II keeps building damage. So it's a trade-off. You're building up your Shadow Fiend to sit in the front lines to really tank the damage, plus getting that free damage from the Drow. So in all honesty, the way he's building the Shadow Fiend, it's the correct thing to do. Because all of Mineski, like we said, their draft predominantly relies on burst. And the best way to counter burst is if you can survive through the initial burst. Afterwards, the sustained damage from Mineski is pretty low.
Yeah, so with that in mind, do you think for the Drow, is she also later on gonna go for a Satanic, for example?
I would probably rather have her build into more damage to complement the Shadow Fiend and the rest of her team. So I would like to see a Butterfly. I know it's not going to be helpful against the majority of Mineski because they are predominantly magical based, but just having the Butterfly means that there's more damage going in the way of your Shadow Fiend, who is already building up tanky stats for you. Oh, this might be problematic. They've got a lot of heroes awake. There's a blink in. Requiem coming up from the Shadow Fiend. Everyone's dispersed though. And oh, he had to force up onto the high ground. Roche is down to about a third left, and all of a sudden, it's just going to be swiped up by Awake unless Mineski tries to make a defense. We're just going to have some heroes dancing around the Roche pit at this point. This is a very scary position for anyone to be in.
But Death Ward was used. The hookshot is still on cooldown for 5 seconds, although I don't think Mineski has that timed perfectly. But there's still no Requiem of Souls, no Death Ward. It's a little bit easier to fight, but Jules is gonna get slowed down. He needs to Hex, and that he does. 4-step away as well, cooldown. Oh, 4-step back by his teammate, I think, but the beautiful Echo Slam 1-2-3 with the Fissure to set it all up. Owa himself will survive a little bit longer, but will go down in the end, I think. Shadow Races, they do miss. Owa even gets pushed back, but stays alive somehow. Cal does get it with the Rocket Flare, but T-Mine gonna get charged. Nether Strike as well, and probably gonna lose his life with the Light Strike ready to hold him in place. And that's Shadow Fiend without the buyback down.
There were a lot of buybacks coming out from Awake though. They do get a counter kill onto Jules. He has buyback though. There's a swap though. They managed to get Jesse Vash into place. He's going to get bashed up as well. And that's going to be 2 heroes down for Mineski. Couchor, he wants the Roche, but he's by himself. Can he finish it off in time though? There's the cheese and the Aegis. Drow picks up the Aegis. Where's the cheese? And it doesn't even get picked up by Jesse Vash. Not Jesse Vash, sorry. Onto the gyrocopter. That looks so bad for Awake, but they take everything. Everything.
What was that? Why did Mineski do such a play? Although they might get a couple of kills on bases, slow down. There's a there for Tochio. He's gonna drop low himself and maybe even die. Yes, the last ticks of it get the kill there. Now Witch Doctor on the run from Jesse Vash. But Spirit Breaker not doing all that much damage as in the meantime Jules just trying to push out mid lane. May even succeed in doing so. Got the stun onto the Drow, but Drow has the Aegis to back off of that one. Hookshot onto the wrong target of Jules. Even with the BKB slowed down through the Eye of Skadi and gonna lose his life once more. I'm at the lack for words. Jesse Vash, she charges in, gonna get costed up, probably slowed down as well, and in the cogs he will die. What are we witnessing?
This is a very interesting game, to say the least.
Interesting.
Very interesting. But 2 3-2-2s don't make a not 3-2-2. So many throws have actually happened this game.
Two wrongs don't make a right, indeed.
Yeah.
I really think like the weirdest movement for me was they won the fight. They had just killed the Shadow Fiend. Gyrocopter by himself stayed in Roche Pit, whereas Jules ran towards the Dire Ancients and ran into 4 enemies, like randomly, I'd say. That was like, what the hell are you doing, Jules? Then he died, didn't TP to the fight, and of course, Gyrocopter unable to pick up the Aegis or the cheese there. Oh man, nail in the coffin, but still, even so, there is a Satanic now finished on the Gyro.
So you said that Jules just ran in there randomly. If he was anything but a Leshrac, so for example, a Spectre that was farmed, or if he was a Troll Warlord, or maybe perhaps a Lycan, what he did probably would have made sense. But a Leshrac? He is pretty tanky, but still, you're a Leshrac. You're not going to be as scary as those physical right-clickers. So, some questionable plays coming out from both sides, but nonetheless, very action-packed, very 3-2-2-y. It's pretty cool. I'm not bored.
Yeah, it's a good game, good fun, if nothing else. And well, we do have a pause a little bit, I guess, the teams themselves. It is already 50 minutes in after all, so getting a little bit heated for themselves, I believe. But well, such a short pause, that's nice. Maybe they just needed to bring a little bit of water or something like that. If you look at the net worth and the items, however, it's really just lots of survivability on Awake for now. And well, since they did go for Satanic on the Gyrocopter as well, it's not that much damage output by themselves, and it's not increasing by a hell of a lot considering Spirit Breaker isn't farming, there's no AC incoming. Leshrac, well, he's been capped out for quite some time. Maybe if he went for like an Aghanim Scepter and Octarine Core, something like that, but it's Awake, maybe even getting a little bit stronger as time passes, especially now with the Aghanims on Witch Doctor.
The Aghanims, I'm pretty sure it played a key role in the last fight. Actually, how long has he had the Aghanims for? He had it for the last Roche fight, didn't he?
Oh no, he didn't.
No, so it's the fresh yes. Aghanim Scepter. Alrighty then. So this means that all of a sudden the Witch Doctor has to be a primary target in the team fights. Mineski, they can't just leave him there. Oh, Jesse Vash, silver edged, and he is hunting. Does he want to go on the Witch Doctor though? He's pretty tanky. Teammates nearby, Jesse Vash is just going to say no. Don't bother. He's just going to back up. Does not need to engage. So I feel like that was the much safer
as well. So he could have just invest and kind of dodged a little bit or something, and just lacking the necessary vision to know if anybody's close by to the Witch Doctor probably made him hesitate. But there is still an Aegis for another, well, only a minute, so not that big of a deal for Mineski. But of course, after the Aegis expires, there might be a cheese to follow. Satanic picked up on Shadow Fiend, and oh, Shadow Fiend is maxed in levels. Do we have anybody else? Yes, the Leshrac and the Drow as well. But this game, there's still a 10k lead for Mineski in net worth. Only 4,000 in XP, but 10k net worth, it's really not that big of a deal anymore. I mean, supports, it's mostly just Witch Doctor and Vengeful Spirit being slightly underfarmed.
Okay, so we are going to have a push coming from both sides. Actually, in the in the Awake base, we have Jules. He's just going to hex up Cal at this point, whereas the rest of Awake, they're going to try and make a push in the middle lane, but Cal, he has to try and defend this for as long as he can. Fights are happening in the middle lane though, and Witch Doctor Death Ward completely whiffing. It's not really going to connect him to anybody. Jesse Bash, he's still alive for a tiny bit longer. He's got 30 HP. He gets out of there safely. Cuckoo, though, he's going to try and Satanic up, but he won't be able to be picked. He won't be able to actually survive. That's going to be the gyro down. And T, he's going to try and finish up G at this point, but meanwhile, down the bottom section, we still have Jules trying to make this push, whereas the rest of Awake, they have to try and race him. They actually aren't even close to taking these Raxes down. Buyback as well from the Gyrocopter, blink forward by Oa. They want to try and go into II, but unfortunately for them, they just don't have the follow-up to really kill him. And the rest of Mineski, they're going to try and push these heroes out of the base. Down bottom though, Raxes are being taken by Jules, so space has been created, but all of a sudden, is it going to be worth it if you lose heroes? There's a flat cannon. Look at all the damage coming up from the Gyrocopter. They still have the Witch Doctor alive for a little bit longer. He will go down. There's a Gust. They're going to connect onto 2 heroes, and there's a Glimmer Cape, and there's a pause as well from Eventual Spirit.
It was really him just getting disconnected, which paused the game, but both teams should be ready. Eventual Spirit doesn't have buyback anyway. But Witch Doctor is down. We see Shadowfiend dropping extremely low Satanic on cooldown for another 7 seconds. But then again, there is no flag cannon, and it looks like Cuckoo is more so focusing on the Drow. You can see the mini bash at the moment. A really massive animation of it even coming out from the, of course, Monkey King bar. But Mineski, it really has looked like throughout the entirety of this game, they have been excellent in taking fights when Awake are like trying to back off or something, or I don't know if it's Mineski just forcing Awake into such positions or what's the case, but every single time they just nail Awake once they're trying to escape.
Oh man, I want to see the result of this team fight now. Because this is going to be very interesting. Both teams are going to have some time to think about what they want to do. I feel Mineski has the upper hand in this pause because they know what's going on. They have vision of these heroes, whereas Awake, they're a little bit blind. So there's the unpause, and actually Oa, he's not going to drop down to II, but Drow's moving pretty fast. He will get out of there. And Shadowfiend, he has blinked out, but II going to be charged up. Will they actually keep the Drow alive? He's got nothing to really protect himself with, and all of a sudden they lose the Drow in the process. Clockwork, though, down in his... actually going down to Jules in the middle lane. Oh my god, heroes all over the place are dying.
Oh, Shadowfiend got stunned up by the homing missile. Jules gonna catch up as well, but not close enough. Although another charge, never mind, does get cancelled as Cal is also there on the Clockwork. Jules gonna get pushed back. For a second I thought maybe pushed to the high ground completely. But they will go in, claim the melee racks, which are so low in health anyway. And Drow, without the buyback, if they get triple racks here, although, will they stay for the triple racks?
They don't have to. They can, if they want to, just play it safe, wait for the Roshan, because we've seen every time, if Mineski overstay their welcome, they get punished, and all of a sudden the middle lane, Cal going to try and keep Jules in place, but he was 4-staffed out in time, so that's going to be him alive for that little bit longer. Awake just have to stall. There is buyback available. Cuckoo, though, he is going to be going to town onto T. And the Shadowfiend, he's going to be swapped up by his teammate. All of a sudden, Clockwork is down. There's a buyback from the Drow Ranger, and Cuckoo, he's trying to fight it up, but he just can't even sustain himself. And they're even going to lose Jesse Bash in the process. Oh, Radiant Courier going to lose half of its HP. Oa manages to get out safely. Jules is still hanging around. A little bit greedy from our Leshrac. I would like to see him back up. He will go back in the process, but Mineski almost getting completely punished.
Yeah, Drow though did have to buy back there, although now she can just freely buy up any items she wants, so that's like a minor positive always from having to buy back or having had to buy back. Jules also finishing up a Shiva's card. I think Mystic Staff, yeah, already flying and will even retain enough money for buyback. And Jules having buyback is actually pretty huge because is he the only one to have boots of travels in this game so far? Yes. So if Leshrac has buyback, he can just buy back and boost of travels back in, which is something that nobody else can do, although Geo. Did we even talk about Lina going for Bloodstone?
We never mentioned it, but there's nothing wrong with picking up a Bloodstain on your Lina, because she's just going to have so much mana regen. Because if you just look at Lina's score, she's been participating in a lot of the fights and she hasn't really died as much. So she's going to be able to keep those Bloodstain charges. She's always going to have mana. Thus, she's always going to be a constant threat in the fights. So with the Bloodstain pickup, it's going to make her tanky, it's going to give her regen, it's going to lower her death timer. So all in all, it's a massive plus for your Lina.
Yeah, it's really probably the death timer they're most worried about at the moment. Although I maybe would like to see Octarine Core, just lower the cooldown of Laguna Blade even further. Just get it on like a 40-second cooldown or something like that. A little bit less probably, I think it's like 38 seconds then in general. But look at Jules, just pushing into the enemy base with not a worry in the world. Nothing to really get vision on him, but Splitter onto the creeps does miss, but of course Pulse Nova gets rid of them fast enough anyway.
Awake is desperate. They're bringing everyone down the middle lane. I just hope they don't get a little too excited. They've still got the Shadow Fiend back at base and he's going to be there to defend. I don't think Awake can take this mid lane of
Chairo
Rex.
and they know there's no buyback on him. Or they should know at least.
They should know. So he's going to start going onto the Rex. Gus has already been thrown out. There's a stun coming from Jules. Actually 4-star. I'm not too sure whose 4-star that was.
It was
I think
Geo.
it was Jules. Oh, it was Geo. Okay.
So they messed up communication there, although I'm not too sure if they would have gotten the kill regardless, but it would have been closer. She really charges in and BKB pops, but suddenly, is he forced out? No, BKB on throw as well. There's the death ward. They cannot fight into that one, and Jishivash is gonna lose his life for nothing.
So this might be the chance for Wake. Is this gonna be the chance? Spirit Breaker has to buy back. They're gonna have to try and chase after these heroes, like you said. Awake, their weakest is when they're trying to run away. Unless they're gonna connect onto there's an Echo Slam, only gonna connect onto 2 heroes plus the creeps. There's the stun coming out from the Venge just to keep the Earthshaker in place. Clockwork is still alive, he's gonna make a retreat, but actually the Gyrocopter is open if they want to try and go from Laguna Blade. Gonna finish off the Drow Ranger. That's gonna be one of the main DPS down for Awake. They're gonna lose the Shadow Fiend as well and the Vengeful Spirit. They're gonna lose the Witch Doctor as well. This might be game. They need all of their heroes, and the only heroes that have buyback is the Shadow Fiend and the Venge. They need the Drow. They're forced into the buyback. They just can't defend unless Mineski just screws up so badly.
Yeah, I think this should be GG. Jishivash though, well, him charging into the enemy base is something that may stop the GG from happening, but no, cancels it, and that's gonna be just tier 4s into maybe straight Ancient. If they want to play it extremely safe, they can go for the just top racks as well, but they should know that Drow Ranger has his buyback on cooldown, and Shadow Fiend already disconnects. I have a feeling it's GG. It's probably not like an internet issue or anything, rather than them just tapping out for this game.
Yeah, it's pretty much GG at this point. They can't defend it. There's even going to be a hug from Cal, the Clockwork. Congratulations, hug.
Lina even committed suicide as well in the end.
Oh man. But congratulations to Mineski. They take the first game out of this 2-game series.
Yes.
It looked very convincing for Awake.
To be honest, considering Awake we're playing with like 3 stand-ins, it was definitely a lot closer than I expected it to be from the start, but just making the draft work rather nicely, and Mineski, well, to be honest, they were the ones even fighting back from behind earlier on and managed to just pull through in the end, getting some, well, slightly better teamfight execution probably I should say, but that's just the benefit of being an actual team I suppose. But like Danelie already said, this is a 2-game series, so we're gonna have game number 2 coming up in just a couple of minutes. But until then, hopefully you have enjoyed the cast, and if you have, be sure to check out HeflaTV on both Facebook and Twitter, HeflaTV for both, and the casters at Couchor for me, at Danelie Casts for my GoCaster. You can also find them on the in the title on Twitch, and if you just type !caster in Twitch chat, you're also gonna see them. But for now, just a few songs, maybe one even if you have time, and we'll be back with game number 2 of Mineski versus Awake.